I used to think cheating was a deal breaker. Black and white. If you stray, we're done. No questions. I even told my wife that early in our relationship. Funny how life tests the exact things we swear we couldn't handle. It happened 3 years into our marriage. We were struggling, but I didn't realize how much. Long hours, barely talking, intimacy on autopilot. I thought we were just busy until I saw the message. I wasn't even snooping, just picking up her phone to check the time while mine was charging. There it was, plain as day. I wish you were here tonight. I miss our talks. From a guy the first didn't recognize. She cried when I confronted her. Told me it wasn't physical, just emotional. That somehow made it worse. She said she didn't even know how it happened. He was a coworker, someone she could talk to when I was emotionally unavailable. That phrase made me sick. Was I really that distant? I won't lie, I left for a week. Stayed with my brother. I needed space to figure out if this was something I could ever come back from. I felt humiliated, angry, but also broken. Because despite the betrayal, I still loved her. That's the part people don't tell you about infidelity. The love doesn't just vanish. She begged me to do couples therapy. I agreed, but I was skeptical. The first few sessions were brutal. I brought up every ugly feeling. I wanted to hurt her with words the way her betrayal had hurt me. But then I saw something in her face: regret, shame, desperation. She was fighting for us. Not just to keep our life together, but because she genuinely hated what she'd done. It took months, but through therapy, we began to understand how we got there. I wasn't as emotionally present as I thought I was. She never communicated how lonely she felt. We had stopped seeing each other. She cut off contact with him completely. Changed jobs. Gave me access to everything: her phone, social accounts, without me even asking. Not because I demanded it, but because she wanted to rebuild trust, however long it took. And here's the crazy part: we're better now than we ever were before. I know that sounds strange. But going through hell together forced us to be real, completely raw and vulnerable. We learned to communicate, to fight fair, to be each other's soft place again. Do I trust her? I do. Slowly, that trust has come back, not blindly, but consciously. Do I still think about it sometimes? Yes. But forgiveness is a choice I make every day. And I don't regret making it. When people hear the word infidelity, they immediately think sex. Some secret hotel room. Some late-night texts leading to a physical betrayal. But that wasn't my story. And honestly, what happened to me messed with my head even more, because there was no physical affair, but she fell in love with someone else emotionally. Let me say that again: she didn't sleep with him. But she shared herself with him. Her thoughts, her feelings, her dreams, the things I thought were only ours. And maybe that's what cut the deepest. You know, there's this kind of trust that exists in a long-term relationship where you believe you're the person they turn to first. When something good happens, when something bad happens, when they're feeling lost or scared or even just annoyed at work. You believe you're that safe place. That's what we were, or at least, what I thought we were. It started small, harmless, even. He was just a co-worker. They worked in the same department. They had lunch breaks together, meetings, inside jokes about their micromanaging boss. And that's fine, right? You're allowed to have work friends. I had some too. But at some point, the boundary shifted. He became the one she vented to when we were fighting. He became the one she told her fears to. She was worried we were drifting, and instead of coming to me, she went to him. That was the part that broke me. Because when I finally found out, when I saw those messages, what I saw wasn't just some harmless chat. I saw the kind of connection that looked like us, back when we first started dating. The same kind of giddy language. The way she called him her person in one of the texts. That phrase hit me like a train. That used to be what I was. She said she didn't mean for it to happen. And maybe that's true. I believe that most emotional affairs don't start with intention. They sneak up on people. One vulnerable moment, one shared story, one long lunch break that turns into a secret you don't tell your partner. I remember asking her, "Did you love him?" And she paused. That pause said everything. She told me, "Not in the way I love you." But I felt something. I looked forward to talking to him more than I should have. And there it was. That feeling of not being enough. That someone else gave her something I had lost the ability to give. For weeks, my mind replayed that sentence. I felt replaced, even though she swore it wasn't romantic. But emotional infidelity, in some ways, is worse than the physical kind. Because your heart is what's supposed to be mine. The crazy part? We were still sleeping together. We were still watching Netflix at night. Still making dinner plans, still posting cute couple pictures on Instagram. Meanwhile, inside her mind, she was daydreaming about someone else understanding her better. And I didn't even know. That's the thing about emotional affairs, they're invisible. There's no lipstick on a collar. No secret hotel receipts. Just a shift in connection. A change in who gets your heart first. And I was too checked out to notice. I blamed her for a long time. I hated the way she smiled at her phone. I hated how she defended it at first, saying it was just a friendship. But deep down, I also hated myself for not being more present. For missing the signs. For giving her space when what she really needed was closeness. But the biggest wound? It wasn't jealousy. It was grief. Grieving the version of our relationship where I was her number one. If you've never been through emotional betrayal, let me tell you it lingers. Because you start questioning every laugh, every hug, every memory. Was she really there with me? Or was her heart somewhere else? I wasn't looking for anything. That's the part that gets me. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't suspicious. I wasn't even worried. I trusted her fully, completely. That night, her phone buzzed while we were both on the couch. She was in the shower, and her phone was next to me. I glanced over without thinking, just one of those natural things you do after years together. That's when I saw it. One message. One goddamn message. I miss the way you listen to me. I froze. It wasn't even the most scandalous thing to read. But you know when something's wrong. My stomach dropped instantly. That wasn't for me. That wasn't about me. That was for him. I didn't even react right away. I just sat there, cold, numb, waiting for her to come back like nothing had changed, while everything inside me had already shattered. She walked in from the shower, wrapped in a towel, smiling. I looked at her and said, "Who's his name?" I'll never forget her face. That panic. That flash of guilt that she didn't even try to hide. She sat down slowly, like her legs stopped working. Then the tears started. I didn't even raise my voice. I just stared at her and waited for the truth. She said it was nothing. She said they were just friends. She said she had someone to talk to at work when things felt rough between us. That was her word, rough. I didn't even know we were rough. I thought we were just tired. I thought we were doing life together like everyone else. I remember standing up and walking out. No yelling, no drama. I just left. Drove around aimlessly for hours. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't even call anyone. I just needed to breathe. I ended up crashing on my brother's couch that night. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise, going over every detail of the past few months. Every little shift in her behavior. Every late-night text. Every smile she didn't give me. It all made sense now. The next day, I told her I didn't want to talk. I needed space. She respected that. Didn't push. Didn't chase. Just said, "I'll be here when you're ready." And God, I hated her for that. Because a part of me did want to go back. You see, people think the hardest part about betrayal is the betrayal itself. But it's not. It's the decision. The choice to either leave or stay. To burn everything down or to try and rebuild. Everyone around me said I should leave. My brother, my best friend, even my mom, who adored her, said, "You don't have to forgive this." But I wasn't looking for permission to leave. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to. Because here's the truth, I still loved her. Through all the anger, the humiliation, the confusion, I still loved her. And that pissed me off. I wanted to stop loving her. I wanted to erase the whole thing and never look back. But my heart didn't get that memo. She wrote me a letter. 4 pages. Handwritten. She poured her guts out on that paper, why it happened, how it started, how she hated herself for it. She told me she felt invisible at home. Like she was talking to a wall. She said she should have fought harder to talk to me instead of turning to someone else. She didn't make excuses. She didn't defend what she did. She owned every inch of it. That letter broke me, because I saw her pain. I saw that she was hurting too, not just for herself, but for us. And even though I had every right to walk away, something in me said, not yet. So I came home. We didn't kiss. We didn't hold each other. We just sat across from each other in silence. I said, if we do this, it's not going to be easy. She nodded. I know. I said, you'll have to be patient with me. She said, I will. And in that moment, I made the hardest decision of my life. Not to leave, not to punish her, but to try. Not because I was weak, but because love is a risk. And I wasn't ready to give up on us without a fight. It's strange how something so small can detonate your entire world. One notification, one sentence on a screen. That's all it took. Her phone was next to me, face up, lighting up with a message while she was upstairs doing laundry. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't even suspicious. But that message, it wasn't meant for me. And I just knew. You know how your gut doesn't lie? That message read, I don't know what I'd do without you these days. It wasn't sexual. It wasn't scandalous. But it was intimate. Way too intimate. And it wasn't from me. That hurt more than I can explain. I felt this wave of heat and nausea all at once. I opened the thread, not even 10 messages in, and I saw it all, the emotional closeness, the inside jokes, the vulnerable late-night exchanges, and then the one that changed everything. Sometimes I wish I'd met you before I got married. That's when I felt my heart physically ache. I swear I felt it in my chest like a bruise swelling from the inside. She came back downstairs like nothing had happened, talking about the laundry detergent being out. I couldn't even look at her. I was holding her phone in my hand. She looked at me and froze. I asked one question, who is he? I said it calmly, so calm it scared even me. Her eyes filled instantly. She didn't deny it, didn't lie, just whispered, he's a friend from work. My voice cracked when I said, a friend? And she just broke down. Started crying right there on the kitchen floor. And I couldn't even move toward her. I just stood there, my pulse pounding in my ears, hands shaking, thinking this is what betrayal feels like. I walked out. No screaming, no suitcase, no dramatic exit, just keys in hand and the door shutting behind me. I didn't even know where I was going. I ended up in a gas station parking lot, sitting in my car with my head against the steering wheel for hours. My phone buzzed nonstop calls, texts, voicemails. I didn't answer a single one. I wasn't ready to hear her voice. I wasn't ready for anything, to be honest. I was spiraling. I felt pathetic. How could I not have seen this? How long had I been sleeping next to someone whose heart was somewhere else? That night, I slept on my friend Marcus's couch. I told him everything. He was pissed at her, at the situation. Told me to pack up my stuff, serve her papers, get out while I still had dignity. Everyone would have understood. But the thing is, I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to blow up our life out of impulse. I just wanted to understand how we got there. That was the hard part, because even through the shock and the betrayal, I still loved her. That made me feel even worse. I wanted to stop loving her, but I couldn't. She sent me an email the next morning, 5 paragraphs. She said she was sorry. That she knew she broke something sacred. That she never meant to hurt me. She said it started with harmless conversations at work, then it became emotional, and she didn't know how to pull away. She swore it was never physical, but it became something deeper. She said she felt seen by him. And that line wrecked me. Because what did that make me? Invisible? I didn't go home for 4 days. She didn't push, just told me she'd wait. And I hated her for being so patient, because I knew I wasn't done loving her. I started remembering the good parts of our relationship. The late-night talks we used to have. Our road trip to the mountains. The way she looked at me when we danced at our wedding. And I wondered, was that all fake? Or did she lose something along the way, too? When I finally came back, I didn't come back with forgiveness. I came back with questions, with rage, with confusion, but also with this small, painful hope that maybe we could fix it. We talked for hours that night. No yelling, just pain on the table, raw, uncomfortable, honest. I told her I felt humiliated. I told her I felt like second choice. She didn't defend herself. She just cried and said, I deserve that. And then I said something I didn't expect to say, I don't know if I can forgive you. But I want to try. The first therapy session almost didn't happen. I was so close to canceling it the night before. I sat in my car outside the therapist's office for 10 minutes, engine running, thinking, what's the point? She betrayed me. What's there to fix? But then I remembered her crying on the kitchen floor, begging me to give her a chance to make things right. And I remembered how, even with all the pain, some part of me still wanted to understand why it happened because it couldn't have been random. Something broke in us before she broke my trust. We sat on opposite ends of the couch. Not touching, not speaking until the therapist spoke. She asked, "What brings you here today?" And I swear the silence that followed was louder than anything. I didn't know how to begin. But eventually, I just said, "I don't know if I can ever trust her again." My voice cracked when I said it, and that surprised me. I didn't expect the grief to hit like that. It wasn't anger anymore, it was deep, soul-splitting sadness. She didn't jump in to defend herself. She didn't say a word until the therapist turned to her. And when she finally did speak, she didn't blame me. She didn't shift the focus. She just said, "I know I broke something in him. I know I broke something in us. And I don't expect him to forgive me quickly. I just want the chance to show him that I'm still here. And I'm not going anywhere." That was the first time in weeks I felt something shift, just a little. The thing about healing from emotional betrayal is it's not linear. Some days, we talked. Some days, I couldn't look at her. There were nights I slept on the couch without saying a word. And other nights, we stayed up until 3 a.m. crying, talking about everything that hurt both before and after the affair. It wasn't just about what she did. It was about what we stopped doing long before that. We had stopped checking in. Stopped listening. We got so comfortable that we stopped seeing each other. Therapy became a space where we ripped everything open. Nothing was off limits. I asked her every question. When did it start? What did you say about me to him? Did you ever think about leaving me? And to her credit, she never dodged. Even when the truth hurt me, she gave it to me straight. I told her I hated that she made me doubt my own worth. That now I questioned if I'd ever been enough. I told her how embarrassed I felt, how small, how stupid. And she cried through most of those sessions but never once asked me to stop. She said, "If that's what you need to say, then I need to hear it." I started seeing a therapist on my own too. I realized I couldn't heal just through the relationship. I had to deal with the damage inside me. The loss of trust. The fear of it happening again. The obsessive thoughts that kept replaying those messages in my mind. I hated how paranoid I'd become. Every notification on her phone triggered something in me. Every time she laughed while texting, I'd freeze up. I hated feeling like that. I hated what it turned me into. But she stayed. Patient. Steady. Transparent. She shared her location with me, not because I demanded it, but because she wanted to rebuild trust from scratch. Gave me access to her phone, her inbox, every bit of her digital life. She started communicating more. Telling me how she felt even when it was hard. And over time, I did too. I stopped bottling things up. I started letting her see the real me again, the version of me that existed before the silence, before the distance, before the damage. There wasn't a single moment where everything just magically healed. It happened in small, quiet ways. A look. A hand on my back when I didn't expect it. Her waiting outside therapy with my favorite coffee. Me choosing to talk instead of shutting down. Her crying when I told her I still loved her, even when I was scared to admit it. It was hard. The hardest thing I've ever done, honestly. Forgiveness wasn't this big heroic gesture. It was a daily choice. Some days I made it with confidence. Other days, I made it through gritted teeth. But over time, I felt the shift. I could feel the space between us closing again, not in a rush, but in a real, intentional way. And weirdly enough, that's when I realized, healing didn't mean forgetting what happened. It meant learning how to live with the truth, and still choosing love anyway.